The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. In this stanza, the poet describes how he was walking along a trail through a forest where the leaves of all the trees had turned yellow, and how in the course of this walk he came across a junction where the trail divided into two paths. Being a single and lone traveler, the poet could not possibly travel along both the paths, and so he had to choose one path to walk down instead. However, this was not an easy choice for the poet to make. For a long time he stood at the junction and looked as far as he could see down one of the two paths. His vision only allowed him to see the length of that path to the point at which it disappeared among a dense growth of shrubs and other plants along its way. Now let's move ahead to the next stanza. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. In this stanza, the poet says that he chose the second road. This second path was in fact a better choice for him, because he could see that it was covered with grass, unlike the other path that was almost barren. The poet concluded that every person passing through must have caused the grass beneath his feet to fade to the same extent, and therefore, since the second path had more grass on it than the first one, it had been less often chosen by other travellers like him, who must have faced with the same dilemma at the junction of the forest. Now let's move to the third stanza. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. In this stanza, the poet says that no leaves on either of the paths bore any sign of being blackened by travellers' footprints that morning. Having chosen to walk along the second path, the poet thought he would walk along the first one some other day in the future. However, the poet says that one road leads to another, so he may never have the chance to come to the junction again, and consequently never be able to walk along the first path. Now let's see what fourth stanza says. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. In this stanza, the poet says that having made his choice of taking the second path from the junction in the forest trail, he still cannot rest easy about his decision. He believes that after many years he will look back on the journey of that walk and think that by choosing the path that less people had been on, he has forever eliminated the first path from his travels. However, the last line of this stanza and of the poem as a whole is a bit ambiguous. The poet could also be saying that his choice of the second road has affected his life in a positive light, and perhaps choosing the first one wouldn't have had such an effect and instead been a bane for him in his life. Now let's analyze the title of the poem. The title of this poem is a key to its interpretation. It focuses on lost opportunities, the road that the speaker did not take. The poem shows considerable ambivalence about which road is less traveled. One moment, one is more grassy, the next, they are both equally covered with fresh leaves. It seems that on that autumn morning, neither road looked worn, regardless of what the speaker may say when he tells the story years from now. But the speaker made a choice and took the path. In taking that path, he gave up his chance to take the other one. Metaphorically, this means that the speaker is reflecting on his life choices and how they are going to affect his life. More than anything in the text of the poem, this title hints that the poem is about the lost opportunities and the complexities of choices, not just choosing the part that is fresh and new. And now, at last, the theme of the poem. The route not taken centers on the concept of choice. The path that the speaker was walking on diverges into two directions, and he has to decide which way to go. This path is not just in the woods but also represents a decision in his life. Something in his life is changing, forcing him to make a choice. Yet, he has a really hard time deciding. Once he thinks one way is better, the next moment he thinks that both paths are the same. Whether or not he has a reason why the choice he makes is better, he has to make it. That choice changes his life. Here, conflict is between the right choice and the wrong choice. We should always have the courage to choose the right way even it is rough and thorny. All of us reach a crucial point in life when we must make a right choice. That choice determines our destiny. The poem inspires us to face the challenging realities in life. The chief theme of this poetry is an ambitious relationship with nature. He is interested in the paradox of life. The phrase "somewhere ages and ages hence" refers to distant future. Here, shy should not be taken as regret. However, Frost is very optimistic. He looks into the distant future. A small, courageous step makes a big difference. It can lead to a great discovery, success, prosperity, or happiness. However, the line, "and that has made all the difference," is not clear. The poet beautifully leaves this to the imagination of the readers. Ambiguity is one of the striking features of Frost poetry. So, this is all about today's video. We'll meet you in the very next. Thank you.